it meant anything goes. Anyone could die, anyone could fall in love, anyone could die, anyone could fall in love, anyone could die, anyone could die.
Age of Apocalypse.
Concept was so cool.
Age of Apocalypse.
Concept was so cool.
People couldn't believe it. They had to believe it. People couldn't believe it. They had to believe it.
Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window. Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window. Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where we are revisiting 2020 in the Age of Apocalypse comic books. Gary, This is not good. Everything is bad.
You know, yeah, like I saw a tweet about it, and be the tweet repeat guy. But you really thought coronavirus was going to take it?
Nope.
They had the lead, and then bam, racism.
Have you ever read? I'm sure you have not, but have you ever read Misery by Stephen King?
I have not read Misery.
There's a section at the end of that book where the writer, who is imprisoned by Kathy Bates, this is what she's called in the book too. It was really weird. He starts talking about how he's hungry and thirsty, and envisioned it like a horse race, and how hungry started out real strong, but thirsty came around the corner and just took off with it. And I'm like, yeah, boy, is that a metaphor for 2020? Because there's 17 horses in that race, Gary. There's too many.
There's a lot of horses left. We still had to go through an election and a hurricane season and a wildfire season.
Yes. At the time we're recording this, we are staring down a hurricane. Luckily, it looks like it's going to hit east of me, though. Looks like it's going to be a New Orleans and Mississippi issue, which means we'll probably get like a lot of rain and wind. But, there's huge protests planned for New Orleans this weekend, and it's going to be really weird how that's going to interact with hurricane stuff and, the general...
And the virus.
And the virus, yeah. Well, we're not... I mean, people kind of seem to think that all of that is just gone, but it's not.
Yeah, it's felt like it has been because there's been, bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But yeah, it's no good. But that's why we, Duckfeed, have been bringing you a comedy week.
Yes.
So this is the last recording I'm doing for comedy week.
Oh. Well, I'm honored. I'm honored. So really, I haven't counted up because during the quarantine before Louisiana opened back up, I stopped all podcast listening. Like I just kind of stopped. I listened to podcasts in my car mostly, so I just didn't. So I'm way behind on everything. What am I missing in comedy week? What do I need to know to prepare myself?
So when somebody talks about things being extremely bad or whatever, it's comedy week. And then boing, or like a sound effect, a fun sound effect, because we're bringing the comedy during this bleak ass time.
Oh,
comedy week.
If you'll stand by a minute, just 1 second, sir. I can. If we really want to get into some comedy and some sound effects,
I think we do, because comedy week.
Input device. Let me just do a couple of things real quick.
Spring.
Actually, all I have in here is Final Fantasy VIII music and K-pop. So this is probably not going to be really good for...
It's not comedy music. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing funny about Compression of Time. That song is fucking weird and cool.
Yeah. It's Final Fantasy VIII, supernatural music, and K-pop. So I don't really know that the next time we record, I will be prepared with a soundboard of X-Men sounds if we need to.
Yeah. You a K-pop guy? I didn't know.
No. We became I mean, like we stay in the job now because we've welcomed to the resistance. But
yeah,
when the jopping thing happened, it was so weird, and like the word jopping was such a like just out of nowhere. It felt like that me and Chris like kind of made it into a bit. So we renamed almost every single active member on our Discord with jopping versions of their nicknames. Okay. So the whole Discord turned into, and I like renamed channels. Like we went through the whole thing. And then just like overnight it became bad. And so we just like completely undid everything. And then like fast forward a year and Chris is like, we have to stay, we are required to stay in the job. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I haven't caught up on Twitter.
The Jop has returned.
Jop has returned.
Boing.
Much like Apocalypse has in these issues.
A Joplips?
No, I'm not going to do it, Derek. Imagine, if you will, Apocalypse, but with a K-pop haircut.
I can imagine a bunch of Apocalypses, like all standing in a line to do K-pop shit. As a crew.
Well, now this is...
There's 17 Apocalypses.
This is a video I want to make.
This one's the cute one. Here's the cute one. Here's the quiet one. Here's the cute one. Here's the cute one. Here's the quiet one. Here's the cute one. Here's the cute one. Here's the cute one.
And here's the bad boy.
Here's the bad boy.
He really lives up to the name Apocalypse.
Boing. Also, I like the idea of a K-pop Madrox band.
Yeah.
M-pop. What issue are we talking about today?
The Amazing X-Men, number 2. Yes.
Yeah. This is a fairly fun week. We got, they're still kind of like spinning wheels, I think. And we got one issue that's pretty hard to follow.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm finding this continuously breezy.
Yeah.
Sat down to read these today and I was just like, oh, that's comics, baby.
My problem that I am running into is when I read these as a teen, and when I was reading comics as a young kid, I cared a lot about it. I was really into it. And what is happening now is like I'll be reading an issue and like there'll be a character in the background that's talking, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? And 13-year-old Jeremy would have like gone on a mission. Like that would have been like, I need to find out everything about this dude. I'm going to go through back issues if I can find them. I'm going to do whatever I can. And 39-year-old Jeremy is just like, oh, he's not on the next page. I don't need to worry about it. Gary's going to tell me who that is later. So
I will tell you who it is. Yeah, I think if I didn't have the knowledge, I might be in the same place. Like I react to the world stuff in two different ways, and the thing that so I either just become depressed and or not become depressed, become like active and like try to do stuff, or what this is feeding, what the Age of Apocalypse is feeding, is when I turn into Homer Simpson mode, which like is a character version of me that pops up every once in a while on Adaptation Decay, which is just like I'm watching the Doom Annihilation movie and like really enjoying it because I've been reduced to such idiocy that I'm just like, that one's the leader. There's a ray gun. And that's how I've been enjoying the Age of Apocalypse. Like, Richter's in trouble. How are they going to get out of this one?
Richter is the bad guy. What are you talking about? Who cares if he's in trouble? Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of a different Richter, right? Wait, which one?
No, you're not. You're thinking of the correct Richter.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say.
I just think I don't think it's going to end well with him. I meant when he was like turning into Crystal and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well,
at the end of the issue, I was just like, Richter. I turn into like a little baby man. And this is really nice for baby man vibes. Like, this is not requiring anything of me.
No, it definitely I'm sure that other podcasts who are currently covering Age of Apocalypse is probably doing a really in-depth read on some of this stuff and like trying to pick out themes and everything. But especially with the way that the world is right now and with where I'm at, which is, I'm not going to quite say Homer Simpson, but very, very similar. Like I am devoting myself to things in order to try to keep my mind off of despair and bleakness. I am enjoying it on a surface level and like, look how ridiculous this is. What are these sounds that this guy's supposed to be making with his powers, which we're going to get into a lot on this issue. And so I'm just like kind of, I don't want to say closing my eyes and just enjoying it or whatever, because obviously we're reading a comic book, but like I'm just kind of soaking it in and having a good time with it.
That's basically where I'm at. Like, not that there's nothing. I mean, these are second issues, right? So like they've done the setup, but now they're still kind of like rising action.
Yes.
So not a whole lot happens here that operates outside of that surface level, I feel like. And that's kind of generally true of the entire event. I think, like the theming here is like the difference one man can make, and Apocalypse is real bad, and also racism is real bad and stuff. And it just, there's an element of this where it's like the storytelling was so non-nuanced that it feels like some of the stuff isn't even worth saying.
Yeah.
Like this, it's if the theme of this is that like every issue starts with like, 20 years ago, a man died and now we reap the hell and stuff. And it's like, yeah, no, I know. Like, I know this is real bad. Like, this is a really over the top dystopia. It's horrible.
Yes.
I need solutions.
I need solutions.
I need apocalypse reform now.
What would Elizabeth Warren do if Xavier died? That's what we're asking.
Oh boy. Yeah. So let's get into it with our surface read of mutants are going to fight.
Yep.
Which is these issues at the very least do good job with that stuff.
Yeah, and I like this cover. It's just Storm trying to save Quicksilver from Sprongy Man. Like I guess that's what that dude is.
Abyss.
Abyss. Yeah.
One of the characters introduced for the Age of Apocalypse. This is to catch everyone up. These are the Amazing X-Men. They were going to go help the humans evacuate.
Yes.
On the East Coast. And we start off with a scene of Springy Man, Robert Fripp, here, stealing the Moffat from last time, like the little kid.
Yes.
Our family point of view character. Who
is surrounded by some evil rats, which, I mean, they just really spent a lot of time.
Rats,
the rats are good, man. The one on the right.
The rat on the right?
Yeah. He just owned somebody on Twitter. He did, man. Like, he's coming back and he's just chuckling to himself. He's
a mutant himself, and he's going to go oppress the rat scans.
Yeah.
Like the non-mutant rats.
The rat scans. I just... He's gonna let you get away with that, Gary.
It's actually good. This is Abyss, and Abyss is like a highlight character for the artist. You're like a Kubert highlight character because he has like Spider-Man, like black tendrils.
Yeah,
he's made up of little strands of things, and he sucks people into himself and feeds on their hope and despair. And then we get this little splash page of Abyss, grabbing this kid and sucking him up in his little tendrils.
Yes.
Here. Like electrical tape.
And Abyss has a lot of like weird comedian kind of vibe to it. Like he's going to make a lot of real good goofs. Like I feel like this is like at some point he's going to be like, what is the deal with all of these X-Men kind of situations?
Yeah, he's a comedy character. Mm-hmm. He's the most lighthearted of the Apocalypse's horsemen.
Yeah. Considering that he's eating children, right? Like for
the child eating one. Abyss is a real weird character. I know he did show up in the main Marvel universe, but I don't know very much about him.
Yeah.
It's like it feels like they had a design and then and he basically gets at least temporarily taken out of the fight during this issue.
Mm-hmm.
He's real strange.
And we're going to go from him eating a child and doing a villain monologue and calling that one of the humans Dead End, which I think is pretty interesting. Like we get a lot of flat scans in this, but I hadn't seen Dead End yet, which is Dead
End's new.
Yeah. To our X-Men team, who is Banshee, Quicksilver, Exodus, and Dazzler. And they have been using the Sentinels to ferry humans off of the continent to get them out of Apocalypse's territory. And now the Magi have shown up with a group of dudes who are bad.
The Brotherhood of Mutants.
Yeah, that's what I said.
The name of this team. Yeah.
They have reprogrammed the Sentinels to kill the X-Men. And we're just immediately into a fight.
Yep, exactly. And they get into a fight. There's a little break off here. I was thinking about, I know you're behind on podcast. In one of the podcasts, I was talking about a Dream Game thing, and I brought up X-Men Tactics.
That was
a game I really want to have.
That was this podcast.
Okay, this podcast. I brought up X-Men Tactics a lot, but on this pack, remember X-Men Tactics. One reason why X-Men Tactics would work is during all these fight scenes, everyone takes turns already.
Yeah.
Like X-Men comics are already a turn-based strategy game.
Absolutely, and that's something like that we complained about with. I think we complained about that in some of the fight scenes and some of the cartoons and things that we saw. Is like it would be like a big free for all, but like none of the characters would interact with each other. They would immediately pair off because that's what the comics would do. Like there was no kind of like let's make all of this stuff flow together. But yeah, we have to break off into individual pieces.
Yeah, and that's why that really good that one issue during the Phoenix Saga where the fighting actually kind of interfaced with itself was so fun.
Yeah.
So they're all taking turns in this fight. We immediately get a break off with Copycat and Box, aka Madrox. And that is these are two characters from that kind of going off, and they're being sent off on their own little mission, which Quicksilver has to go thwart.
Yes.
So he runs away from the melee. Most of that fight is going to happen off screen with them taking out the no-name guys. But Copycat, who's a shapeshifter, flummoxes Quicksilver by impersonating Wanda Maximoff.
Yeah.
who died in a prequel comic we might get to at some point.
And he's a little fucked up about it, so it really throws him off his balance, which gives them enough time to kind of like almost kill him. Like Copycat's about to bring out a knife when Dazzler shoots it with her finger. And I actually like really like the art on this. Like the way that her finger's pointed and like the kind of weird color smoke coming off of it is really cool looking to me. I think like they did a good job because some of the poses these people make in this comic are ridiculous, but like this one actually really works.
Yeah, this is great. Stops him from doing that. It is long enough for Madrox to zap Quicksilver.
Yeah.
And kind of stun him. This is all going to get followed up in Weapon X, number 2, these two characters. Because they do manage to get away. Madrox reprograms the Sentinel to fight Dazzler and knock everybody out.
Nice.
Until Exodus pops up. Madrox, a member of Alpha Flight, who has the power to control machines, walks around in a giant mech. I've always thought he was cool.
Yes. Mechs are cool, Barry. I mean, what are you talking about? Of course, mechs are cool.
I like mechs when they're the size of like a person.
Yeah.
I like a Final Fantasy VI mech.
So the Surge is what we're saying.
Yeah. Those are cool mechs, or like Power Armor and Fallout. I just don't like giant city size ones.
Yeah.
And I don't like ones that are skinny. Like I think it's dumb when they're skinny. They should be bulky and like, they should look like machines, not just like, what if a thin man, no Bishan and mech.
Yeah.
For me.
Sure.
Bishan and fuck mechs. So they're all going to die there. Quicksilver is saying like, hey, defensive maneuvers only. We need these Sentinels to evacuate humans. And Exodus is like, they're not going to, they're going to go with that. We're going to die. And then Storm comes and zaps them all and electromagnetic pulses them to give them a couple of minutes.
Yes. And Quicksilver immediately wants to just run off. Oh wait, that doesn't. First we do some Banshee stuff. I'm sorry, I forgot. Iceman shows up. Like in the last issue, he got like dispersed, but then he's like, "Hey, what's happening?" And then just disappears from the rest of the comic. Like I am begging you, Amazing X-Men, please use the Iceman. I'm begging you.
Yeah, it doesn't happen during this one though. At the very least, instead we go over to Banshee. Flying out, he's kind of reminiscing on Magneto drawing him out of retirement, and he finds the ship that the Brotherhood came here. They're called Arcs, and the door is open, and there's one of the Madri is being killed, or is dead, is hanging up in like an axe, like crucified. And it turns out that Abyss did this because the Madri failed.
Yes,
doesn't seem like they really failed, but apparently that is he says the humans still have a chance of being rescued. So this is what happened. And I'm like, man, don't want to work for Apocalypse. That fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Still have a chance of being rescued. Like we're still doing the fight.
I mean, you don't know. Like the Madri could have been 15 minutes late to work this morning. So like this could be third strike.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
He forgot to clock out for lunch on Wednesday. He was 15 minutes late on Thursday. And then today he let all the humans leave.
Keeps calling in sick on Fridays. That's suspicious.
I know you're not sick, dog.
Or right before vacation.
I drove by your house. You were having a party.
Yeah. Yep.
We also get introduced to some of Abyss's humor here when Banshee is like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "You don't know? Fire my publicist." Like, okay, Jim Carrey. Like, just
He's got big Jim Carrey energy, or like Mojo energy, or something a little bit. He's like, "I'm the greatest and latest." Like he's doing the advertiser voice.
Yeah.
Which is, it's nice to know that Apocalypse's ranks have some. There's some fun.
Sure.
Going on there, like they have some fun.
Like this dude
starts
fun
here at Apocalypse.
This dude starts singing at some point. Like it's all over the place. I do like that
going on.
Abyss is like, his whole thing is like these weird like spirals, like tendril looking things, to the point where like he has a normal face, but his tongue is in that shape as well. Like just a good commitment, right? You know what I'm saying? Like most villains would not go full tongue, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, he's neat looking. Like this is a thing that you can do in comics, but not in it'd be hard to do in a movie.
Yeah.
Like the way he looks like this like telephone cords or something. Mm-hmm. Like I always thought Abyss looks pretty cool. And he's like, "Hey, you have something I want, which is the son of Magneto. I have something you want." And he teases him with the little kid.
Yeah.
That's living inside him. It's like pretty creepy. Like I think this is good shit.
Banshee flies back to go get Quicksilver and sees like all of these humans and screaming in agony because this is what Abyss does. He unleashes these psionic tremors. And then
Yeah.
there's a line here that it's like Sean Cassidy hears their agonized cries rising over the deafening pitch of his own sonic scream, and I'm like, hey, Sean, can you, like, these guys are in enough trouble as already. Can you coast for a while? Like, do you have to, like,
enough deafening scream?
It's just insult to injury a little bit, man. Come on.
Yeah, it's real good. It's very funny to me that whenever you see Banshee doing anything, it is very, very hard to remember that he's constantly screaming.
Yes.
And it's like louder than anything. Like it removes some of the gravitas of this whole thing.
Oh yeah.
And the whole thing he does in this comic is go do what Abyss wants. He's like, hey, can you grab Quicksilver for me? You're the boss. And he goes and does it. Like, and that's basically Banshee in this issue.
Mm-hmm.
So he flies back to go, rescue, tell Quicksilver about the kid. They're all, the fight's over at this point. They're talking about how they've taken out most of the people. There's an interesting thing. They talk about Abyss and how he's rumored to take Bastion's place.
Yeah.
As one of the Sentinels or one of the Horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty interesting. Bastion was Nimrod put through the Siege Perilous. So that's a weird thing.
Yeah, that's super.
That was
super
the old Horseman.
And what happened to him? Like, are we gonna have to read another prequel?
Yeah.
Comic?
I'm sure there is a prequel comic with Bastion. He might be in one of those two that we might read at the end that are written by Howard Mackey that are real bad. But the X-Men have won, basically, off screen, except for this one little kid. And Banshee tells Quicksilver, he's like, I'm going to go head over there. And there's some back and forth between him and Storm, like whether Storm should come with, them going back and, whether, hey, I have to do this alone. No, you don't. That's silly. Pretty boilerplate stuff.
Yeah. And eventually they both decide to go over there. And they leave the rest of the X-Men to, like, get all of the humans out of there. Like, we got to reprogram these Sentinels, and then hopefully you can get everybody out. And then by the time you're done with that, we'll be back. There's a weird line where I think it's Banshee talks about Quicksilver is like, just like his father, he is not a man who likes to be disappointed. And I'm like, do you know a guy that likes to be disappointed? Like, is that?
I love it, dude. I fucking love being disappointed.
Man, I need you to build me up and then just tear me down. That's what I'm looking for here.
Yeah, I like to make a cheeseburger, and then I put the cheese in the freezer, and then I put the cheese on the cheeseburger, and then I just take a big bite, and I'm like, oh man, I'm disappointed.
I like to make a cheeseburger and then just make it just right where you take one bite of the cheeseburger and the whole patty just squirts out of the bun and it just lands on the floor. Oh, that's the good shit.
Like, how wet can you make it, dude? And then you have to clean it up and you only got a bready.
Oh man, why did I eat this over a carpet? Oh, that's gonna be so hard to clean.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed. Yeah, I love to vote for Democrats.
Too real, Gary. We're podcast.
Comedy week. Boing. Awooga. So Storm goes off and faces him or chases him, and does this big monologue about how in love she is with him.
Yeah.
I thought this was established, but I guess not. Like, she is not revealed to him. Also, there's a panel where she's landing, and I want you to take a look at how long her legs are.
Mm-hmm.
In that panel, that's some fucking art, man.
That's it.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I think it looks really like inhuman. Everyone's got really long legs.
It's like they modeled her off of Faith Valentine from Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. So she's landing. They know it's a trap, but Abyss does his little thing where he shows off the little kid, and that makes him rush in.
And this time it's Storm that rushes in instead of Quicksilver, which is like, and I think Quicksilver is like, yeah, I know how brash she can be. So there's kind of like a oh, we like each other and like we are similar kind of things going on. She grabs the kid, but not before Abyss starts wrapping his tendrils all over Quicksilver and Storm, and it's a face off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was all part of his plan. This is the trap. Here, they let the kid go, and there's a gross little detail where it's like, the kid is catatonic, and Abyss says, like, don't you throw your gum out when it's lost its flavor? Which is like a good, creepy line.
Yeah.
At this point. And they kind of have a little moral debate, which is real boilerplate. Again, you can't treat human lives this way. Quicksilver's just disgusted, like he's never dealt with this shit.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, there's that John Mulaney sketch about him talking about Ice-T on Special Victims Unit, where like Ice-T is like, you mean to tell me this guy gets off on little girls? And everyone's just like, yeah, Ice, he's a pedophile. You work in the sex crime division. Like, this is what you do. Get used to it, buddy. And I just feel like that should have happened for Quicksilver already, where Quicksilver's like, you regard human life in such a context? Like, man, Are you new?
Yeah,
Like wake the fuck up, dude. He's one
Apocalypse
of the
has
horsemen.
breeding pens. Like, what do we?
Yeah, they're breeding. Yeah, you don't have breeding pens when you're a good guy.
You were rescuing humans from a continent, not from a city,
Yeah,
from a continent.
It's a calling. What part of calling did you not think was? And this is like one of his, his top brass. You fucking idiot. Just like, geez, naive X-Men.
And it's not the first page that we've seen this on, but I think this is where the Fripps get a little intense.
Fripp.
For whatever like these little spiral paper things are that make up Abyss, like they just make these weird Fripp noises, and it's all over the place in this.
Yeah.
Quicksilver gets really mad and he goes punchy. There's a lot of Fripps, and it's just what you're saying. Like, there's a lot of real basic mutant powers don't give us the right to dominate others. And I'm like, the guy was eating a child. Like, I don't know that.
Yes.
Don't know
we're
what you
past
need to
that debate.
Yeah, what do you?
Why
need
are
to
you
see?
still trying to debate him? Like at this point,
It's called Ahab for a reason, right? All horsemen are
Yeah.
bastards.
That's actually a different character who followed Cable back from the past.
Ahab
So,
in the corner, like, not cool, man, not cool.
Yeah, Ahab is like, don't. It's like me, Karen, and Chad have something to say about this. We don't like how our names are being used this way.
Oh God, dude! In a parking lot the other day, I saw a license plate that said Chad.exe, and I'd like to fucking die. I couldn't get a picture of it, but Chad.exe just floored me.
That's great. That's funny. .exe is powerful.
It really is, man.
So the way Quicksilver wins here, like Abyss keeps Frippin. That's where he does his Frippin.
Mm-hmm.
He's Jack the Fripper, and Quicksilver takes him out by grabbing his one of his tendrils and shoving it into his mouth, and basically recurse it, like making him a loop.
Stop eating yourself. Stop eating yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Which makes Fripp Sleuth Pup is the name that we get. Sleuth, like a detective.
Mm-hmm.
Pup, like a pupper.
Love it.
Is the sound effect we get as and they say it makes really gross sounds as he gets sucked into his own dimensional abyss, which is a little easy for one of the horsemen, but is a cool way for this guy to die.
Yeah. And also, like,
like
I think Peter says, like, that's not going to be the last we see of him. Like that's going to be temporary. Like, we're not gonna we have won this battle, but not the war.
He's gonna Iceman himself, and the kind of like the thematic payoff they're trying to go for here, which I'm sympathetic to the writers of Age of Apocalypse trying to set up and do character arcs for new characterization.
Yeah,
for these guys in 4 issues, right? Like that's hard. And the idea here is that Storm has always been more impulsive than Quicksilver. Quicksilver's always been more reserved. Storm convinced Quicksilver to take her with him. And it was him being impulsive and emotional that led to his victory. Yeah. Like he didn't stop and like calculate the odds or anything. He just got mad and punched, and that won the day. So that is what, the payoff. They come back and it's like, hey, all the stuff we did to reprogram the Sentinels worked.
Yay!
It's fine now.
We got it. Got to say, the B team is killing it today, y'all.
B team is off camera is the winner of this episode of
brownies
Not Pictured
for everyone. What do you mean he cold brownies? He's not supposed to be able to cold brownies.
Yes. I love when Dazzler shows up to tell them that everything worked out. She shows up as Mini Dazzler.
Yeah, dude, that's great.
Like, it's an illusion. She could show up as any size Dazzler she wants, and she decided to show up to one that's like nipple high.
Yeah.
Or show up as one that's like not super little, but like just kind of a very short woman.
It seems like maybe it's a thing between her and Storm. She's like trying to send a message, like, look what I can do. Look how high look how high I am. Look
how little I am. Yeah. I also, she maybe was just doing it to make words for the room for the word bubbles, which is very funny.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's probably it, actually.
How do we make this work? They called for 4 panels at the bottom of this, and that's not a lot of room.
Yeah, we're gonna do 4 verticals. Shit. Like, well, she can make an illusion of any size. What if she comes up as just a head, or like, oh no, I got a better idea. What if she was 4 feet tall?
Yes,
done.
Solved that problem. So, like, and they talk about these machines where they're like, oh yeah, we reprogrammed them, and Storm is like, well, if they can be made to see the light of reason, I'm like, that's not That's not the way that works. Like, you didn't convince them of
Yeah.
anything. You shot lightning at them until they did something they're not supposed to
Yeah,
do.
and Harmonix did it. Banshee reprogrammed him with sound like a Commodore 64.
Which, I
Like
mean,
he
imagine being in
he
the
phone
room
freaked him.
where he's just like
Yeah.
just yelling and screaming at these sentinels, and they're like, I don't think this is going to. Oh my god, it worked! I can't believe this.
I'm honestly quite surprised.
I didn't
I'm glad
see that
Banshee's
coming.
back.
Good job.
Yeah.
Banshee's like, it's
Yeah,
never
good
worked
job.
before. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know why it worked now. Oh boy. So now we cut over to New York City. Now to 2000s, it is simply called hell. And we get Rex, the weird Mary Sue character of this whole arc that's been showing up a lot, torturing Karma, who is Angel's like bodyguard and security at Haven, his club. They found him. Sebastian Shaw, who saw Angel tell Gambit where to find Magneto, has squealed. And they're trying to get more information from Karma, basically to Angel. Like, hey, Angel probably knows everything about the Xavier Mansion and where they're hiding. Maybe we can get that from his second in command.
Yes.
And they're trying to torture her. And they're talking about gearing out the Shadow King, who's called the Shadow Thief in this world. And he can, learn all your secrets, but leave you as a husk.
And
We've seen him before. He's in a jar.
which is a great place for the Shadow Thief, to be honest with you. And Apocalypse shows up and is like, you guys got to stop this. I already know everything that I need to know. I'm going to go fight Magneto, and that's going to be the next issue.
Yep. We got a Apocalypse versus Magneto. Enough said.
Enough said, Gary. We don't need to say anything more. So we just...
Yep. I'm going to start ending my podcast with enough said.
It's a good sign-off.
And classic Marvel phrase.
Maybe we should do it's comedy week. Maybe we should do like an Excelsior. Patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Excelsior.
Excelsior week.
Yeah.
Here on Days of Future Cast. This is an R8 issue. I think like this moves things along.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of disappointing that a lot of the action happened off screen, but the dialogue was not embarrassing to me. And I think Abyss is cool and interesting. And this makes me want to do a deep dive on Abyss on a wiki and to see like how he appeared in the real 616 and shit.
You want to talk about getting off and being disappointed? Read anything about a character on a Marvel wiki. Like you get 3 paragraphs in and it's like, ooh, what did you know?
Yeah. Somebody did something stupid with this.
Yeah. But I'm with you. Like this isn't like, any great shakes, but it's not so awful that I hated reading it or anything. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not so bad.
Do you,
as far as stuff we've done.
Before we get out of here, do you want to plug the thing that we're going to be doing?
The Duckfest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do. Duckfest 2, Enter the Compute Realm, is scheduled. And it is going to be the weekend of, let me pull up a calendar. It's like the 27th
and 28th. Yes.
Yes, of this month.
Yes. So
Of
by the
June.
time you're hearing this, if you're on the Patreon feed, it is in 1, 2, 3 weeks. And if you are listening on the public feed, it is also 3 weeks because those come out on the same day.
Yep. And it's going to be a blast. And there is a Days of Future Cast segment.
Yes.
Where we are going to be covering the Wolverine official Marvel Comics Wolverine podcast.
Yes.
That they did.
I've never
That's wild.
covered a podcast before. This is going to be really, but like I think the thing that you need to know is it's not like us talking about I don't know, like it's not going to be me and Gary rating and reviewing everything to Guppy, right? Like, which would be honestly a really killer bit for a podcast. But it's
different bit this time.
Yeah, this is actually like a produced like drama thing. So like this is more akin to a Welcome to Night Vale or what is the Appalachian one? Appalachian Mountain and Horrors of Appalachia, something like that. That really dope.
Something like that.
Creatures of Appalachia. It doesn't matter. It's one of those. It's like a produced like fictional podcast. So it's going to be incredibly interesting. The only person that I know that has listened to it is fellow Duckfeed host Jala, and she liked it.
Yep.
So I don't know. I haven't heard anybody else's opinion about it. Literally nobody else has said anything about it too. So
we'll be doing a service.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to talk about it. I think it'll be fun to have this a different medium.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And I think that like that's a cool idea. Like I like audio dramas. I haven't gotten deep in any of those podcasts that do that kind of thing, even though I support their existence. Like, I think it's a cool idea, and I just, every time I see one, I like put it in the later hole.
Yep.
For like, oh, like I'll just do that someday, and then I never do. But this is finally my excuse to do it. And weirdly, like Age of Apocalypse has made me like Wolverine a little bit more. Like I've, one of the weird things this show has done is maybe like come to peace with the fact that I actually like Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
after being kind of a comics hipster and being like, oh, he's just overexposed and stuff. And I'm like, no, the Homer Simpson Gary can get way into like, he's angsty. Ooh, he's mad now. Someone's going to get adamantiumed.
Ooh,
like I can get way into that. Uh-oh, he's gone into berserk. Sabretooth shouldn't have done that. So yeah, that's simple Gary will probably be on board.
Yes.
We'll see whether Simple Gary or Smart Gary shows up to Duckfest 2.
In the meantime, if you want to support the network, patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. I've also, and I'm sure Gary probably not going to have a problem with this, on all of the podcasts I've been releasing, I've been including a link to ActBlue website that lets you donate some money and choose what organization it would go to, whether it's bail relief or all that kind of stuff. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes. But it's actblue.com. You can find that all over Twitter. Like I've been really trying to get that out there for people. So
well, and I should have mentioned this before. So Duckfest 2, we're raising money as well. So we're still looking. That's probably what we're going to do is the ActBlue, like the Omni link.
Yeah.
To the Black Lives Matter causes, but we're ending police brutality and for Black rights causes, raising money. It's not mandatory for participating in Duckfest, but strongly encouraged.
Yes.
So like definitely release that on the podcast, and then that's also what we're looking to do that weekend. We didn't feel. Duckfest was traditionally just like celebration. It was not we have a charity stream during the year. And this was not that, but we also felt dumb, like throwing a party. So we're not going to throw a party. We're going to throw a party and then also see if we can get some money.
Yeah.
For a good cause. So please include that on everything. And when you tune into Duckfest, please donate if you're able.
Yeah, and not just the Wolverine content. We're going to be doing some Ask Gambit.
We're going to be doing a new Gambit.
We're not going to be doing
any Ask Gambit. Gambit's got a brand new bag.
And my buddy Chris and I are going to be doing some Monster of the Week stuff. So if you're a Monster of the Week listener, you have that to look forward to as well.
Yeah, crossover. Yeah, so it's going to be great. I think 2 days of programming. I think on Saturday night, as an after party activity, we were going to do Jackbox, but then we realized like we do Jackbox every month.
Yeah.
And Nick Glauber wants to participate, so I think he's going to run a tabletop RPG.
What?
I think he's going to run a game of Baron Munchausen, which is a fun storytelling improv RPG that we played that is real neat.
Cool.
So yeah, going to be all kinds of good fun. So check that out. Check out Patreon. Check out ratings, reviews on Apple Podcast. Black Lives Matter. Fuck the police. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. You're good.
Just the things. Yeah.
ACAB.
ACAB, Ahab.
Excelsior. ACAB.
Excelsior Comedy Week. Boing.